Quit my job working in mental health to become a stay-at-home mom to my then 2-year-old and newborn daughter. It was a tough transition. I was overwhelmed with the amount of diapers that needed to be changed, the sleepless nights, the isolation. And so I didn't know how to quite manage this newfound stress and anxiety that I was feeling. So I turned to other moms to see what they were doing. There seemed to be kind of a common underlying theme: drinking. I would walk into a store and see hand-painted wine glasses that said, "Mommy's sippy cup." There were t-shirts in the women's department that said, "They wine, I wine." And there were moms sharing memes all over social media with other moms that said, "It's not drinking alone if your kids are at home." And so I thought this was funny. And I already like to drink, so I got right on board and started drinking to relieve stress. I waited until an appropriate hour to pour myself a nice soothing elixir that would numb the sound of that damn singing Elmo. At first it really worked. I felt relaxed. But after just a couple drinks, I would notice that I would wake up in the middle of the night, tossing and turning and feeling, stressed and anxious. So I started thinking about what was causing the stress and anxiety, and I realized that I'm not really alone. The American Psychological Association says that 50% of us report that stress negatively impacts our mood and our behavior. The CDC says the more we're stressed, the more we drink, and since the pandemic, drinking has increased by 41%. So alcohol seems to be kind of our go-to when things feel tough. It's what we turn to in times of stress. The messages about this are everywhere. Drink and be happy, drink to feel relaxed, drink to calm down. Think back over your last week. How many times did you hear somebody referencing alcohol as a solution to stress? Maybe somebody on their way over here was like, it's been a stressful week, I could use a drink. Or, in your social media feed, on commercials, on your favorite TV show. So my question is, if alcohol were really the solution that the marketing tells us it is, then why aren't we a culture of all zen and relaxed and chill, laid back people? Why are we instead reporting so much stress and so much drinking? So here's the thing, alcohol's a little bit tricky. When you first drink, your brain produces a lot of feel-good chemicals. Your arms and legs get numb, you get all warm and cozy on the inside. You do feel relaxed at first, and it's why we think we need to drink for stress. But very shortly after those first few sips, your brain's like, too much of a good thing at once, we gotta get things back in balance. And so your heart rate goes up, cortisol and adrenaline are produced. When your liver realizes that you've put ethanol into your system, it goes into overdrive trying to rid your body of the toxins. The National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism says drinking disrupts every natural system in our body. This leads to mood instability, anxiety and depression, sleep problems, and that's not all. The American Cancer Society says that no amount of drinking is safe because of its link to several different types of cancer. It increases heart disease, destroys the lining of our stomach, and depresses our immune system. The CDC says it's responsible for 95,000 deaths per year. It's the third leading cause of preventable death. It also has a big role in some of our community problems. The Bureau of Justice says alcohol plays a role in crimes of violence, rape, assault, robbery, and it costs us about $250 billion per year. But back when I was drinking for stress and anxiety, I didn't know any of this. I thought I needed to exercise more, read more self-help books, or that I needed to eat more kale. My story looked like this.
I arrived at adulthood, and to my surprise, it wasn't as great as I thought it would be. I did all the things I was supposed to do. I graduated from college, I got married, I had kids, I drank responsibly. But when I woke up every morning, I was anxious, tired, and things felt meh. I wanted to feel better, so I dieted, drank smoothies, took Epsom salt baths, and I drank. I cut carbs, went keto, tried vegan, cleansed, and I drank. I ran, lifted weights, read self-help books, and I drank. I didn't feel better. Then I was tired and discouraged, so I searched, read, Googled, and I discovered it was the drinking. Drinking gave me hangovers, it gave me anxiety, it gave me a headache, it made my life dull. I stopped drinking. I became Alive AF.
The AF stands for alcohol-free, in case anybody was confused. But also, so you see, I didn't know that you could drink kale smoothies and go for runs and be an okay mom and have problems with alcohol. I thought people who had problems with alcohol had something detrimental happen to them, that they had hit some sort of like Hollywood rock bottom that we're used to seeing about in the movies, that they needed rehab and recovery. And while that's very true for a lot of people, it's also true that 9 out of 10 people who have problems with alcohol are not clinically dependent. And so when I first discovered this, my mind was so blown that the only thing I could think of was, I've got to tell people. And so I've spent the last several years building up a platform where I could talk about the effects of alcohol on us aside from addiction, the role that it plays in our mental health, the way that it makes us feel when we're driving to work in the morning, the way that it impacts our parenting. So Dry January is a challenge that people do across the globe. It just completed, where they go 30 days without drinking to see how it kind of improves their health. The University of Sussex in 2019 did a study on some of these participants and found that just after 1 month, people reported that they lowered their cholesterol, they lost weight, they reported having more energy, more clarity, more focus. I've been alcohol-free for over 4 years, and I can attest that I've definitely improved my physical health, but more importantly, my emotional health is so much better. That stress and anxiety that I had, it's diminished almost completely, except, of course, when I'm on stage doing a TED Talk. But my life is so much better. When I stopped drinking to cope, a whole world opened up for me. I was able to find time to do what the CDC says to do in order to manage stress and anxiety, and that is create, engage in authentic connection, and make time for hobbies and play. I created a blog, and writing became a huge coping skill, something that I would turn to at 5 o'clock during happy hour instead of drinking. Every time I posted a blog post, I connected to other people across the city, across the country, who had the same problems with alcohol, but they didn't know that since they weren't addicted, they couldn't stop. It never occurred to them, much like it never occurred to me, you can just stop drinking when it's not working for you anymore. This led to writing a book, and the book has led to leading women's groups, teaching classes all over town, and really just making this my passion to help people understand that you don't have to wait to stop drinking. You don't have to wait for happy hour. You can be happy any hour. I'm having happy hour right now, and it's not worthy if I don't have a glass in my hand. And so now what? Well, scientifically, we know that alcohol doesn't help us cope. On a physical scale, it wreaks havoc on our body, it makes us sick. On a community level, it causes a lot of death and destruction. I'm not suggesting we all have to stop drinking, but I am suggesting that when we encounter people who are experiencing anxiety and stress, that we can maybe offer them something a little more helpful. Let's hand paint some glasses that say, when I'm stressed, I go to therapy, or they whine and I take a break. Could we then finally cultivate the calm needed to create a culture of justice, equity, and peace? I think so. Thank you.